There are moments in life that split your timeline into before and after. Before the diagnosis, before the symptoms, before the identity shift, and then after. Today's episode is about one of those plot twists. If you're walking through a life change right now, this episode might just be the reminder that your diagnosis, your disruption, your detour doesn't define you. Welcome to Plot Twist, the show where we unpack the unexpected turns that shape our careers, relationships, and ourselves. I'm your host, Tiana, leader, speaker, and corporate mom. And I'm sitting down with guests that prove that growth is here to share her lived experience, to plant a seed of possibility, to help people lay down what she calls the invisible bricks, whether that's visible illness, financial struggle, mental health challenges, or simply the weight of a life that didn't unfold the way that you expected. Her offering is simple but powerful, and that's hope. Patti, thank you so much for joining the show.
Thank you. I really appreciate your help in getting my message out there because we all have invisible bricks, some more than others, but they're there.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that because you do talk about people carrying invisible bricks. Let's talk about your experience.
I wanted to be a teacher and I was a high achiever and everything was falling into my lap. I was the first to get a job in my cohort, September 1989. And in March 1990, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I only had a for MS, and so I didn't know what was going to happen. I stayed in the job for 6 years, and then I took a year off because I wasn't well. When I came back, I taught social studies in a different school. And through the window, while I'm talking about the Magna Carta, like it's a love letter from Engelbert Humperdinck to me, I'm watching the kids out there playing softball and soccer and fun. I just said, I can't do this anymore. And the only dream, the only job, everything I worked for was gone. And the worst part, it wasn't my choice. Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
I wandered through life and eventually, got it together. But let me tell you, the road is long and windy, and sometimes I went backwards and sometimes I charged straight ahead. But I used to say, I like who I am and I'm a good person. Today I say, I am a terrific person and I love who I am because I live with MS.
Absolutely. When you first shared your story with me, it literally brought me to tears. To have a vision or dream and have that shift because your mind wants you to do differently, but your body won't allow you to. What a challenge. What were some of the invisible bricks that you were carrying? And how did you begin to lay those down?
Hopelessness, uncertainty, confusion, loneliness, because I didn't know anybody with MS and I wasn't going to talk to people I had just met. I was in my first year of teaching. I lost my identity. So I was carrying around a big question mark. So who am I now? If I can't be a PE teacher, who am I now? And as a high achiever who never heard the word no, that was hard. And, I was a physical education teacher. I was an athlete in high school, an athlete in university. And now my body is saying to me, no, your hands can't do that. No, you can't run anymore. No, I'm thinking wheelchair, assisted living. And I'm like, whoa, I can't go there. And that first 10 years was really a blur because I was just kind of trying to figure things out, right? What if I can't drive anymore? What if I get really sick? My family is 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles away. Who's going to be here to help? Minimal side effects, great early data. You want in? Absolutely. First infusion. Oh man, I came out of there. My feet didn't touch the ground. I talked the whole way home. I'm going to run the 5K in 3 months. I'm going to join the gym. I'm going to go back volunteering. 6 months later, infusion number 2, I scrubbed my house top to bottom. I reorganized a drawer I hadn't opened in 6 months. Ephesians 3 is coming up and I get the letter. The trial has been discontinued. And by the way, Patti, you were on the placebo. I never got the drug. So what was behind this change in who I was and who I continue to be?
Yeah, exactly.
Mindset. So for me, MS doesn't stand for multiple sclerosis. MS stands for mindset shift. And that
Your study, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it's amazing how just the thought that you were getting a certain level of care had you do things that you know that you were given the placebo.
I was shocked and then I was angry because I let myself believe in a drug and that drug isn't going to cut it. But then I went, wait a minute. Everything I've done over the last 2 years is exactly the life that I want to live. I don't need a drug to do that. It's my decisions. It's listening to my body. And one thing that was really important for me, and it came like 18 years later, is I created a space in my body for MS to live. And I treat it like an unruly renter. Loud music, garbage, rent late. I can't do anything to evict it. So I live with it. And as long as I'm kind to it and I'm grading with grace, giving yourself permission to allow this to exist and to celebrate your wins and do, silent cheers when something works out, but also pay attention to the things you're struggling with because maybe you can learn something from that. So it's very much a roller coaster. And because there is no cure and nobody knows what causes MS, it won't be in my lifetime, but I'm hopeful, right?
And you create a lot of hope for people. You've gone on to write a book, MS Doesn't Define Me. You've also spoken on main stages. You've done TEDx talks, created a community where people can be vulnerable. What really inspired you to kind of celebrate out loud versus just internally?
When I realized I'm not alone. I was in the grocery store and I was full of tomatoes. I was picking up a ripe tomato and I have no feeling in my hands. I cut my thumb off last year. No pain, no blood. I didn't miss a beat. I didn't even know I had chopped it off. And that's what MS is. I was picking up tomatoes and this lady pushed her cart beside mine. She said, "You have multiple sclerosis, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, how do you know?" "I do too, and choosing tomatoes is hard. It feels like you're wearing a pair of garden gloves." Now, do you get a sense of what that means? Wearing garden gloves, doing up a button, wearing garden gloves, tying up your shoe, picking fruit. Like, I felt understood. And I felt, oh my goodness, that is so true. And there are tons of examples in our life where somebody says something and it makes you do a, whoa, he got that. She knows what I mean. And those metaphors, people relate to the everyday things,
Mhm.
right? So for me, this whole journey has been about awareness and, you're not going this alone. Some people choose to do a lot of it alone, and you know what? That's fine. Has it been easy? Oh, hell no. There are days when I'm ready to just close the laptop and say, I think I'm done. But it's just the sharing. And the big thing, we are storied people. We learn by listening to other people's stories. And a professor said to me one time, if you're in a conversation with somebody and they look like they're not listening to you, don't panic because there's a really high percentage. It could be that they stop listening to you because they're thinking about something similar that happened to them. And that's everything I do is about planting seeds of hope. Give yourself grace. Listen to your body. Find your people. Find your people. They're out there. Smile. There's a great chance that they're going to smile back at you. Like all these little things. There's no magic pill. It's not in an IV bag. You don't buy it at the grocery store. Little things. What's the saying? Steady and slow wins a race,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So that's what I do.
Hey, quick pause. If you're still listening right now, that tells me something about you. Go ahead and click follow or subscribe so conversations like this keep showing up in your feed. It's a small click for you, but a huge help for the show. All right, let's get back to the episode. So, to someone who doesn't have MS, what can they expect to take away from it? What do you hope that those who want to?
So it's my story. And that's a reflection piece with questions. And I ask questions that apply to those bricks, could be financial, they could be educational, they could be relationship, whatever. And I encourage them to just sit. You don't need to get a journal and sit with it for a little bit.
I definitely agree with you on that. Your story is relatable just from the standpoint of the metaphors that you share. It's someone who hasn't had that lived in experience. So let's talk about maybe some happy parts of this, which is the strength that you redefine for yourself. How has your understanding of strength been defined after your illness and as you've gone through your journey post diagnosis?
I had to learn to listen to my body, and I'm in charge, right? It doesn't matter what MS wants that day. If it's going to give me a hard time, maybe I have strength is I'm stubborn. I wear it as a badge of honor, just bend out of shape because I got it. I got it. You don't got it. Is knowing my strength comes from knowing that your life is not over. It's just temporarily under construction. Now, when you have a chronic illness, like I don't know, maybe I'm free. Who knows? Right?
Would
So
that be a happy thought?
it is really personal. I think it's important for people to keep their independence. Asking for help is not a weakness, and it's okay. It's okay. You're going to be just fine.
I'm so glad you gave people asking for help. I'm weighing down on others. I am an adult. I should be capable. I should be able to do this. And the fact that I can't, it shows a deficit on my end. But sometimes things can only be possible and we often will forget that because growing up, the nomenclature is, oh, come on, grow up, do this by yourself. You got this. You're a big girl or a big boy or a big kid. And so we revert to that. So it's so important for us to remember that it's okay to lean on others.
It is not a weakness. And in my first year after diagnosis, I would go to the teacher prep room and I would stare out the window and just little tears would roll down my face because I just didn't know. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. And a teacher came in and asked me, do you know why you have MS? And I'm like, are you serious? No, I don't. I'll tell you why. You have MS because you were so great. You were so great in your past life that the universe had to give you a. I think about that story every day. I was so great, and now I'm helping others be great too.
You are. It's amazing. Let's see. Along those lines, and I don't remember if I asked you this or not. So I'm going to ask it. What motivated you to say, I want to uplift others in this?
It's a very good question. It's just so many great things happen after weakness. So many great things. And I may not be a PE teacher anymore, but when I look at everything I've done, had I stayed in teaching, I probably would have retired 35 years later with a ton of memories. Now I have a PhD. I wrote a book. I did a TED Talk. I have a newsletter. I speak to different organizations. I speak to college students. Wow. Wow. And my family, they just don't.
35 years of a different experience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my relationship with our students was very, very important. And I was nominated for an award last August, and I won it. And I was so overwhelmed when I found out that 87% of the votes came from former students. Our labs had puppies. They went to our favorite students who had young families. Nikki Timms is on her way to Wyoming, and she's so tired. She called, "Do you want to come down and then we'll go for lunch?" Absolutely. I'm still a teacher, right? I still teach every day. And these kids are everything to me.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. See, you still taught, just in a different way in which you anticipate it, and sometimes that's part of the plot twist, that what we thought was gonna be linear one way, it's still there, it just looks different and sometimes richer than what we could've imagined.
Hearing no or facing challenges is not the end of the road. It's a detour. Safe travels.
I love that. So, Patti, if folks would like to connect with you, get access to a copy of your book, your newsletter, what are ways that people can reach out to you and keep the conversation going?
You bet. So first thing is I live in British Columbia, Canada, and we have a lovely guest room. So if you're ever passing through Grand Forks, BC, look me up. Two, I have a website, Patti with an I dash Bevilacqua.com, and my Substack newsletter is called Seeing Differently.
Love it. And I will put links to both of those in the show notes. So, Patti, if they're navigating those invisible bricks, what is your message?
It may be easy, it may be hard, it may be short term, it may be long term, but I really, really, really believe you can put those bricks down. You don't need to lug them around for your life. Some may be easier than others, but I really believe we have the ability and the knowledge and the people in our lives to put those bricks down.
Get a chance to share thus far.
You know, that whole concept of permission, give yourself permission, give yourself space, give yourself grace, asking for help. We hear that all the time. And, you know, I am proof that the mindset shift helped me. And if I can help you, wow, that's another win.
Thanks for tuning into Plot Twist. If this story made you pause, reflect, or smile, please share it with someone who's in the middle of their own plot twist. You can catch more episodes on Spotify, YouTube, and connect. Until next time, keep writing your own story.